Hello, gamers. Welcome to another episode of the Pixelated Echoes. This is episode 30 now. Finally on 30. It's actually insane. When I think back about it, I've had like some people go on my channel and start randomly comment. I don't know, like maybe YouTube is just promoting older videos of mine or something like that, but people are going back and commenting on my older podcasts weirdly. This one's a lot better. But the older podcast I did, like, in a way inspired me to make Pixelated Echoes. Like there was certain things in those older stuff where I liked it, but it was kind of like the people I was podcasting with at the time was like a close friend of mine, someone who worked at Bethesda, and who works at Bethesda now. I don't think he worked at Bethesda when I first started. But we all just got busy, and I always wanted to just have a show where we just have good conversations. Me and Fuzzy have been in several of the same shows. Like I started off on Boomstick's show. That was I think it was Xbox. Which freaking show
It
was
was
it?
either Xbox Factor podcast, I
Yeah,
think.
it was. Yeah, I think it was Factor podcast that I started on with, and did that for a while. Then Mav kidnapped me, and then here we are. So super glad to be doing this with you guys, and I appreciate you guys every single time coming on and checking us out. We get a lot of re-watchers too. Like, we get a lot of people who watch our shows after it airs too. So I look at the data. I see y'all. So I appreciate you guys checking us out as well. So episode 30. I'm your host 3-Bit, finally, with my co-host Fuzzy Belvedere. We're gonna have a very, very interesting show tonight, because we were trying to come up with the topics. And like, what the heck? There's no news out there, but we got y'all. We got some stuff for y'all. So if you guys are listening, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, be notified when we go live. Be sure to subscribe to us on all the different social platforms, Blue Sky, Spotify, and others. We got a great show for tonight, Fuzz. So as you guys know the drill. We always kind of start with what we've been playing. I want to see what Fuzzy's been up to, and then I'll go to me. So Fuzz, the one and only, the real life Felix the cat. But it's, this man is not to be trifled with when it comes to Forza and GT7 knowledge, as we learned on the episode. I think it was Xbox Ultimate on Friday. That was amazing. Amazing. The one and only Fuzzy Belvedere. How you doing today, brother? And what have you been up to?
Oh, I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you. And as far as games, my usual stuff like GT7 and Forza Horizon 5. Haven't dived back into motorsport just yet. Looking to change my setup here and finally get my old room back, my man cave, and get my wheel and pedals and all that situated. Been playing it with controller, but holding my own with controller. Posted a couple of recent clips, and whatnot, but just having a ton of fun with that. It's, what is it, 68 or 67? No, 68 days until Daytona 500. So I'm kind of getting that racing bug early. But man, still playing Undisputed. I'm in a weird state when it comes to Undisputed. Like, I like the boxing game. I little miffed that they took a couple of the fighters out, but I realizing that one of them, won his fight not too long ago in a kind of a controversial way. I guess
What's
they
the
wanted more money.
modes like in that game? Like, do they have like a story mode, or do they have something akin to you create your boxer type thing?
Yes, you can do a career mode, and you can either stay in like one or two weight classes, or you can start and kind of work your way up to multiple belts. It's a little bit harder because then you have to cut weight and train. Yeah, especially if you get challenged. Like, I think if you blow off a challenge, it's like after the second time you wind up losing that belt kind of deal. But it's quite involved, and you build up your traits. Like if you're good with jabs or if you're good with hooks and things like that, it's going to be based on the performing you've been doing in the ring, and then the types of trainers and training you do and stuff like that. So it's involved. It's very rewarding and frustrating all in the same breath. But I enjoy that they went into that much depth as far as like depending on the gym, depending on if you want to do the social media stuff, because you got to either talk smack or you got to do like a live stream. So that gets you more of a following. So if you get
Oh,
more of a
that's
following,
cool.
you can go for a bigger purse or get better at negotiations for the split for the purse and stuff like that. So there's a lot to it, but they changed some of the punching stances and things, and some of the punches feel a lot more grounded or a lot more visceral kind of thing. But then you can get like an opponent in like a stun trap kind of deal, and that's where it feels a lot more arcadey than it did when it was in like early access and stuff. But all things considered, it's tough building like a perfect equivalent of Tyson because you're
Yep.
limited on the stuff until you build up your character and career. Like I think you're capped out at about like 70 or 80 points as far as like the strength of a created character. But if you take them to the through the career, like I have one that's like a 98, but it's he's low on power but big on speed and accuracy and jabs, and it's just because a lot of speed bag training and using a lot of combos. And I have it where he has a trait where doing combos picks up your speed as well as your accuracy and stuff like that. So kind of playing to certain strengths definitely helps with the boxer you create. But I want them to continue. Well, they're supposed to continue working on like some of the, you know, attributes of the game. Like they still don't have where you can hold boxers. Like you used to be able to do that in early access, but because the animations were kind of janky,
Yeah.
they took that out. They're going to have to rework it. But there are some times where you wind up getting stunned with like 3 seconds left in the round, and there's like no save by the bell except for on the last round kind of thing. So it's like your best bet's to hold, or you could try and drop to one knee and get a standing 8 count kind of thing. But by the time you figure out or your character figures out, oh, I should drop to my knee, you're probably dropping down right into an uppercut. So it's like they
Yep.
got to
Yep.
get the hold mechanic back in that game, so that way you don't wind up ruling the round and then like the last 3 seconds it's like, oh, what happened? Oh, you're picking yourself up. So,
Yeah.
but it's still enjoyable. If people haven't given it a try yet, I would say it's definitely worth like in the $50-$60 range. I wouldn't like if I don't know if they charge 70 for it out the rip, but if they do, maybe consider a sale. But it's still a worthwhile game. It may not be as exciting as like Fight Night, but it has a lot of that feel, and it just needs a few more boxers in there, a few more like classics and stuff like that as far as former champs and things. But other than that, it's a great boxing game. Although I gotta see what Stand and Bang is like in UFC 5. Like until Undisputed came out, UFC was kind of like the newer looking, replacement.
Yeah.
Didn't really care for UFC 4. The style of it or the graphics of it were a little bit different than 1 through 3. But 5, I think, is kind of going back a bit. But they should still. I'm hoping because I haven't tried it yet. I'm hoping they still have what they used to call stand and bang, which means you can't do takedowns or anything like that. I think you could still do kicks, but at least you can't. There's no ground game involved, so
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
can make it more like a boxing game at that point. Like I suck on the ground game,
Yeah,
so it's
I
like,
suck. As soon as I'm on the ground, like in online, I'm like, it's over because I don't know how to
yeah,
get up.
yeah. I
Um,
think 1 and 2 I could hold my own, but like 3 when they changed it, it's like it feels more intuitive, but I think people have gotten more used to that intuitiveness more than I have. So it's like, okay, I think I'm getting out, and they just did a reversal, and I'm cooked. I'm in uh, a 4 or I forget what they call the other one, where it's like basically you're your arm is behind your own head kind of
Yep.
deal, and
Yep.
you're ready to tap out type of deal. But man, boxing games, love them. Wish there were more of them. Wish more boxers could negotiate deals that they would be comfortable with some of these publishers and developers and things, so that way we could get, you know, like Mayweather or Tyson or Holyfield in some of these newer titles and things.
Yep.
But there's still a lot of good names in there. It's just some of the newer names. I think they're still holding out. Like I said, there was one, I forget his name. He's the who they always nickname Superman. He, I guess,
Mm.
pulled out of that because people thought he was high on that last fight that he actually won. I think he was just playing like he was high, so that way, I forget the other dude's name, would go in, feeling all confident and
Hmm.
kind of just knock that guy out.
Mind
But
games.
yeah, yeah, definitely played some mind games, but I guess his value went up, so he probably went back to Steel City Interactive and was like, "How about we double that offer, or I want out."
Mm.
So they
Yeah.
pulled him from the game, and we'll see if he comes back as a DLC later or something. But man, that's basically all I've been playing. I need to get back to Starfield, and
Yes. Same.
I'm starting to get like that zombie itch again. And it's not that I want to play like zombies from Black Ops, although I need to give that a try. But I think I'm about to fall back into State of Decay 2 in preparation for State of Decay 3 a couple of years from now, or at least a year from now, before that gets released. But what games have you been into recently?
Yeah. So I haven't got to game much this week. I did play a little bit of Top Spin, which in the last episode I was very heavily complaining about. But it's like, so I made the dumb decision. So all right. So for those who don't know, I played Top Spin. I was complaining that it's hard for you to level up your character, because they pretty much put you in this infinite state of never being able to progress, mostly in the tournaments. Unless you pay for it. Unless you pay for, you can rank up to like level 30. I did the dumb. I succumbed to the payment. Right, I did it.
Mhm.
So what it does is it gives you points to put towards your character. And this is totally on me. It's still dumb. It's still dumb. That's just, I put all my stats in power. I put it in like my forearm, backhand, whatever. And then I didn't even think about it. I was like, yes, I finally got points. So I could put it towards my character. And lo and behold, I should have just thought about this, but I didn't put it in the stamina. So I have the same problem as before where my character gets super tired. I can't really do any tournament. So I'm pretty much in the same boat that I was as if I was like level 1. So that's my experience on Top Spin right now. I did play a little bit of Ace Attorney again. I'm really close to beating that game. I feel like I don't want to beat it because, like, then what? Like, kind of vibes. I do know there is another Ace Attorney. It's like, it's expensive. Like, I don't think Ace Attorney should be that expensive. I'm just saying. Like, it's just like a text type of game. It should be like $10. But I think I saw it for like 60 or something. Like, oof. Like, I like the game, but I don't like it that much. Type. So I've been playing Ace Attorney a little bit. But for the most part, I've just been working. I've been doing 2 different animated shows. Some I can't talk about yet, but I told Fuzzy, so Fuzzy knows. But eventually, I'll be able to talk about it, and it's going to be pretty cool. That's all I could say for now. But yeah, it's an interesting time. Like, I want to go back to Starfield for sure. I beat it, but there's still so many side quests I kind of missed out on. Um, so yeah, I love Starfield, so I definitely got to go back and do some of those side missions that I missed. And Mav, he says in the chat, those go on sale a lot 3-bit. Okay, so I will wait for that to go on sale. Because I'm not buying that game for. I have a limit on certain games. Ooh, I really want that game. How much is it? I'm like, nah, I don't want it anymore. I'm very much about getting my money's worth as much as I can. Like, there's only a few games nowadays that I will spend $70 or something on a game. Uh, I'm like, ooh, this game looks great. Like, I'm that type of person. You'll see a trailer, like, ooh, that looks great. Good graphics. All right, how much is it? $70. Like, nah, it sucks. It's trash. Like, it's just how I am.
Yeah.
I can succumb to FOMO for sure, but I can just as easily turn on that switch and be like, it's not that good. So I'll wait for that game to go on sale for sure. Wishlist. Mav says wishlist. It impatience will definitely pay off. Yeah, for sure. Because I'm very close to beating that game. So I think I'm on the last chapter. I'm pretty sure. So once I beat it, I'm like, dang. I want to play more of it. I feel like that's why I kind of slowed down on playing Ace Attorney, because I know I'm about to beat it. And sometimes I don't want to beat games. Sometimes I'm like, I enjoy it for what it is. I'm the same way with certain TV shows as well. I'm like, I heard bad things about the next season. I'm good. Like, in my head, this is where the story ends. It is what it is. But in boxing, Fuzz, I hope EA comes back to the boxing field. I've heard rumors that they want to. They want to jump back into boxing. It's there's also VR boxing.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I'm actually really interested in that VR boxing. Like, I think it's called Thrill of the Fight. Like, okay, that looks. I've seen a lot of clips of it where players are going against each other. They tell each other to like look the other way, and you're like, what? And they smack them, and the effects to me is so hilarious. Like, when you get punched, like your character gets woozy, and it's like the beep, like the beep, like you got hit by a train. It's I want to check it out. That's the one VR game that I'm like, that might make me want to invest in a VR. I've been seeing this boxing clips and stuff. I love boxing, so would love to experience it. The only downside, I guess, to stuff like it in modern day boxing is the like what you were saying earlier, Fuzz, like the people the boxers essentially. With NFL and NBA, they are able to get those licenses because they talk to the NFL, and naturally NFL, they basically own the players in a way. But boxers, that's another story.
Independent contractors.
Yeah. So I hope they figure it out and stuff like that. It's kind of the same scenario with Def Jam as well. Like, why I don't see us getting another Def Jam is because if you have Drake fighting Kendrick Lamar and
I think for right now, that's all people would play. You would constantly see that on your timeline.
Drake versus Kendrick. Like, I would play that. But those licenses, I can't even imagine how much that would be in a video game nowadays. So let's jump to our first news. So did you know, Fuzz? This is a little small thing, but did you know that today is Phil Spencer's birthday?
Oh no, I did not know. Happy birthday, Phil.
Yeah. So happy birthday to the man that gave our games to our enemies. Or like, I'm just kidding. But happy birthday, Phil Maximus Spencer. I thought in honor of his birthday, I made a little skit, a little console war skit I did a bit ago. So I thought I would play that in honor of his birthday. So let me go ahead and I'll put that on. Here it goes. Just skip. There you go.
As we cling to what's rightfully ours. Bethesda. I mean, ZeniMax.
Satya in there too.
Yep.
Release the Oracle.
Some of this stuff didn't age well, but it's all good.
But Phil, use the word some exclusives. They can't handle it yet.
Tears.
Okay, there you go. Sorry, had to skip that one.
Do you see
Turn it up. All right, I got you. I got y'all.
tears that overflow the pony valleys? Are you proud of what you accomplished?
Yes, Master.
Activision, Blizzard, they join our armies. We grow like a hidden weed on the back of a tree in the shade, undiscovered by the farmer until it is too late. Our enemies mention greatness. Today, we witness what greatness truly is. Sony's sadness is palpable as they watch their dreams slip away into the hands of greed.
What is that?
My son, it is the end of the chapter. Our final battle. Go forth, Phil Maximus. Victory is nigh.
For Game Pass?
Yes, for Game Pass.
Yeah, so there we go. This little fun skit I did a while ago of Satya and Phil. It was right after we were following the ABK case and stuff like that. And then the other one was right as they acquired Activision Blizzard. I did a third one, and I was planning on making it a whole series, but the Console Wars is the name of the show, and it just don't hit it's the same, you know. It don't hit the same nowadays. So obviously, that show is discontinued for now. Very fun doing both of their voices. Like I feel like now I can never unhear. Whenever I see Satya, I always picture him talking like that, like "Oh, Phil," like, even though he does not talk like that at all.
No.
But good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Fuzz. Why don't you lead us on, brother, with our first topic of the show? Kind of talking about the Steam stuff.
Yeah, like with the CES last week, they were able to announce something, pretty amazing, I think, moving forward as far as like when it comes to handhelds in the space and stuff like that, and how popular the PC handhelds between like the Legion Go as well as like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally and such. But Valve will officially let you install SteamOS on other handhelds as soon as this April. So if you already got your handheld PC and you're not liking the Windows integration, Steam might have a solution for you. Although we'll get into some other possible solutions that Jason Ronald hinted to. But SteamOS was always supposed to be the bigger than Valve's own Steam Deck, and 2025 is the year it finally expands. Not only will Lenovo ship the first third-party SteamOS handheld this May, Valve has now revealed it and will let you install a working copy of SteamOS on other handhelds even sooner than that. Pierre Lope, I hope I'm not messing up his name, Graphius, one of the lead designers of the Steam Deck and SteamOS, tells me a beta for handhelds is slated to ship after March sometime, and that you might discover that the OS just starts working properly after that happens. Graphius and his co-designer Lawrence Yang would not confirm which handhelds might just start working. Though there are some obvious candidates. The company confirmed to us in August that it had been adding support for the Asus ROG Allies controls. Also, quite a few PC gamers have also discovered that Bazite, a fork of Valve's Steam Deck experience that I love testing on an Ally X and vastly preferred to Windows, also works wonderfully on the Lenovo Legion Go. There still aren't that many handhelds out there at the end of the day, and I would think Valve would take advantage of work the Linux gaming community has already done on both. Speaking of Bazite, Valve seems to be flattered. We have nothing against it, says Yang. It's a great community project that delivers a lot of value to people that want a similar experience on devices right now, says Graphis. And adding later, in a lot of ways, Bazite is a good way to kind of get the latest and greatest of what we've been working on and test it. So
Nice.
I think the big thing here is moving forward as the lines between console and PC are getting blurred. It looks like Steam is stepping up as far as a solution for those that may want more of a console-like experience. Like having Windows on like a ROG Ally or Legion Go is fine. Most of us can navigate through that fairly well. But if you're coming solely from console and your PC experience is limited other than maybe spreadsheets or something like that, this gives you that alternative that will organize your games and have that handheld feeling more like a handheld console as opposed to a laptop that's in like a handheld body and then having to navigate between menus and such, or having to focus on updates to the drivers and things. But with that, that's now going to be a little bit of competition for Xbox when it comes to their handheld and what they're working on doing. As I mentioned, Jason Ronald was there at the same time, also working with Lenovo on like an Xbox and Windows OS merger, or more so an Xbox OS that will be more gaming centralized for not just handhelds, but also PCs if you choose to turn your PC into a console, which some in our gaming community have. Shout out to Everborn Saga, where he basically has it set so his PC turns on via the controller and he can shut it down from the controller and navigate through his list of games on that PC without having to break out a keyboard and such. I mean, there's quite a few things you might have to do in the current form as far as how he set his up, and he has, I think, a breakdown on his YouTube channel and stuff. But Xbox is kind of looking to do the same. So between Steam and Xbox, I think we're going to have a whole new set of wars with these handhelds. I mean, we'll get into one that's slated for later this year, but 3-bit, what do you think as far as like now that Steam is going beyond the box of the Steam Deck? What do you think that means as far as for a lot of these handhelds, moving forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think just naturally Steam, I've joked about this before, but Steam has won the console war without even doing anything, just by default. And if you are looking at all these different companies right now, Xbox, Nintendo, Sony, mostly Xbox and Sony are starting to diverge into different ecosystems, different platforms to grow their own ecosystem. I think it's cool whenever we are getting this weird blur of what is a Steam or what is an Xbox. I'm kind of liking it, honestly, because it brings upon competition. It brings upon a little bit of innovation. Like, how is Xbox going to argue their box with knowing that Steam has, they have their own Steam machine, but now they're also blurring the lines. Like, well, now you can put the Steam OS on other stuff. It to me that while for Xbox, like, they might be looking at this like, dang, but I look at it, as a consumer and being like, yes, because not only is that good for if you wanted to try the Steam on other handhelds, not just kind of locked in. Um, I think it's just good competition wise in terms of like Xbox constantly trying to push the envelope on playing Xbox on different devices. Like I think the problem right now with Xbox for a lot of PC gamers is the Xbox store is not to their standards.
Yeah.
Like it's a little glitchy for them. It's just not as reliable as the Steam store.
Mhm.
So something like this, I feel like it just pushes those engineers just a little bit more
Yeah.
to try and make it a better, seamless experience. I think Xbox is in a good position here because they've been setting themselves up for Xbox to work on different devices. So that's only going to increase over time. I think Sony is very behind. Nintendo's even further behind in trying to start to put your games on other platforms and have that ecosystem be a seamless experience. Like if I wanted to play Last of Us on my PS5 and then I want to I want to play it on PC, like there's no seamless way of doing that. I have to have a separate copy, different save. It's like they want you to double dip
Mm.
in the like to the point where it's actually kind of damaging certain aspects of their innovation, in my opinion. So I think it's cool. I think it does push Microsoft and other companies, honestly, to try harder. Um, and yeah, I think you said it would work on the other devices, right? Like I think you mentioned
Yeah.
like Lenovo and
Mhm.
some other one. So I think it's cool. I think it's
Yeah.
dope. Yeah. Sorry, you're gonna say something.
Oh no, I think from like my standpoint, I like you said, the competition aspect. This now will push Microsoft even further. Like I know some of the key things I'm looking forward to with like the Xbox OS. They've already kind of hinted with Windows 12 that they were going to work on something similar to Quick Resume. Um, and that being a big feature on the series consoles, if they're able to incorporate that into the Xbox OS, which it's kind of a virtual machine thing. So if you're a PC head and you're familiar with doing like a virtual machine, I think that they'll be able to make that possible even on other existing handhelds. May not have all the freedoms that we do with the series consoles. Not saying, you know, that you'll only be able to have like one or two games, but there might be some sacrifices in that regard where you'll still be able to do quick resume, but you'll have it limited to like maybe three or four titles on that handheld versus like the 5 to 7 plus or whatever, depending on the game that you may have on your series console. But the fact that Microsoft recognizes that not everybody likes Windows when it comes to gaming, and they're going to make something that's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more console-like, I think is a big step up. And this will also hopefully help them focus on their PC store. Like the console store is great. It's easy to navigate, easy to find things. I think the only complaints that you usually hear from a console standpoint might be like localization for like some Xbox users that are in Korea versus like other areas in this the East. I think they're a little bit behind on localization stuff, but beyond that, the store functions great for console. But if they can get all of that function and I guess you could say also the additional listings, because it's
Mm.
weird. Like the fact that you have, or there was like 18,000 games that came to Steam last year. Out of those, probably a third of that came to Xbox's Windows Store. But some of it is because of certification. Some of it's because of other regional things as far as region lock or like the dev themselves not submitting it to Xbox only because Xbox will require, oh, well, you have to have localization, you have to have this type of certification that has to work on this type of PC with
Yeah.
Windows, Vista 7 or something along those lines type of deal. If they can get that situated on the PC side of the store, I think that will be the next huge thing. But Steam stepping up first, doing it now, I think they already know what Xbox is looking to do or what Microsoft is looking to do. So they figure, because Gabe's not stupid. He used to work for Microsoft, so I'm pretty sure he saw that they were, creeping into his backyard. So why not creep into their backyard to some extent? But
Yep.
competition's always good. It's what got Microsoft to, change up things with Xbox when it came to Game Pass, backwards compatibility, and a lot of that, and also forwards compatibility. So having it where more handhelds will be more like gaming consoles for those that aren't necessarily as willing to tweak their handheld PC. I think this is a good thing moving forward. And like I said, blurring those lines between console and PC will make it that much better for all of us moving forward in gaming.
Yeah, 100%. And negative zero, reading some of the chat, says playing some Outlast Trials with some buddies while I'm tuning in. Wanted to show my support as I enjoy listening to you guys. I'll do my best to be active though. Appreciate you, man. That means a lot. Thanks for checking us out. Understanding says, which handheld has Game Pass and Steam? I'm not a huge handheld person. I want to be. It's just, yeah, I don't know. But
all right, so right now on the Steam Deck, you can put the cloud version of Game Pass. If you do some tweaking when it comes to the Edge browser instead of the default, I think Firefox is the default. All other handhelds usually run Windows, which will give you access to the Xbox app, which has Game Pass rolled or baked into that app. So pretty much the Steam Deck is the only one that doesn't come with Game Pass accessibility off the rip. As far as PC handhelds, I'm not counting the PS Portal. But I think even the was it that Legion or not Legion, the Logitech G Cloud, you still have access to Game Pass on that, but that's just streaming. But as far as being able to download games, all of the Windows installed handhelds, which, like I said, all but the Legion Go S, which is the one that's going to be the Steam Deck one coming later this year, and the Steam Deck itself, all the others are Windows based, so you should be able to download Game Pass and whatnot to it. So,
heck yeah.
Now the catch is, it's like Game Pass on your PC. It's not as console like. So, what Microsoft is looking to do is make that more like a console. Like if you've ever seen how big picture mode works for Steam, they're looking to do something like that with the Xbox app. So when you turn on your Windows handheld, it'll look like it's an Xbox console and put your games and everything that's gaming related in the forefront for you. So that's what Jason Ronald's looking to have done before this year is out. Probably sometime before the June showcase, more than likely.
Yeah, I hope we get the earlier hardware announcement or some plans for that, maybe a third-party thing where Xbox is very much a seamless experience on handheld. You don't have to download any mods or look up a YouTube tutorial on how to get Game Pass to work on your Steam Deck and things like that. And I think that's what they are working on. So I'm actually excited for that because I've noticed lately I've been really wanting to play handheld. Like it's innate in me, especially because I'm always on the go. I'm constantly just moving around and stuff, and I love playing Xbox in my living room, don't get me wrong, but it could be cool to just play Indiana Jones while I'm on like a bus or something. That could be absolutely sick if it works correctly.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of the second topic going on, and so this is a very Xbox centric show, right? I admit that. But it's mostly just based on our personal preferences. Myself, Fuzzy, Mav, other guests who come onto the show are usually just Xbox centric peeps. If you are Sony centric, though, feel free to send me a DM. We'd love to get other point of views, as long as you're not toxic Dreamcast guy person. Would love to get other perspectives. But our community, for the most part, is Xbox. It's the ecosystem I prefer. I love the ease of access and how it treats me as a customer. I don't expect Xbox to make remasters of games so they can double charge me. I don't expect my credit card company to step in on fraudulent charges due to like a security leak, which has happened to me, I think two times on Sony's thing. Sony has overstepped its boundaries for me a little too often, and that's just kind of what was kind of pushed me off over time. Where their kind of lack of care for me as a customer can overstep the games or even potential for me to jump into their ecosystem. It's to me feel like it's worth to stay on there. That's just my personal thing. But they do make some incredible games. I love Last of Us. I love both Last of Us. I know people didn't like the second one, things like that. I loved it. I thought it was great. That's why I was the one person being like, yeah, let's do factions. I'm ready. And yeah, we've seen how that turned out. So this article actually comes from Fuzzy. It kind of outlines different stuff Sony wants to invest in, partnerships they've made mostly in the anime and movie industry. So I will read some notable mentions kind of from these past few Sony events. So first I'll read this one, then I'll get to the one Fuzzy kind of sent to me. So Sony has unveiled a new gaming system. This is kind of what you're seeing on the screen that could allow PlayStation players to sniff their way through games like The Last of Us. This is an article from fastcompany.com. This is not a joke. Unveiled at CES 2025, the future immersive entertainment concept, for short, that's FIEC, features a huge room-size setup designed to push the boundaries of immersive gaming. A trailer for the concept, which is what you guys are seeing, kind of shows a giant cube built from high-definition LED screens that enables players to step directly into their favorite games. Unfortunately, it puts, this isn't something you'll be setting up in your living room anytime soon. In the trailer, players experience the post-apocalyptic world of The Last of Us with enhanced audio and the addition of smell-o-vision, delivering a complete new experience. One of the pillars of Sony's creative entertainment vision is the idea of narrative everywhere, where stories from Sony are transformed across new and exciting mediums, explains the video. The future immersive entertainment concept, that's what's called, aims to explore these possibilities. This proof of concept project combines the latest location-based techniques, Sony crystal LED panels, engaging audio, haptics, scent, and atmospherics to fully immerse you into the world of the story. This is the end. While the infected world of The Last of Us may seem like an odd choice to demonstrate what the FIEC can do, players could shoot clickers as they appeared around them and get a whiff of literally a whiff of the game's grim post-apocalyptic world. I don't know if I want to smell in The Last of Us. I'm just saying. I imagine that smell is not to be very good. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the smell of death.
Yeah, the smell of death and grass. Yeah. I think I speak for everyone when I say nobody asked for this. This is them, not me. When nobody asked for this. One skeptical fan responded to the announcement, "Can't think of a single game that will enhance my experience by smelling it." He added as unimpressed. While the use of scents in entertainment has been around since the 1960s, which I did not know, the FIEC builds on a PlayStation patent for scent-based gaming filed 4 years ago. So whether or not gamers will embrace this feature remains to be seen. Perhaps they should have led with the waft of pizza in the world of cooking mama to get gamers on. Yes, they should have did that. Showed a demo of cooking mama. It smell like pasta and stuff like that. Then you might be on something there. So honestly, this is the first part of the conversation, and we'll see your thoughts, Fuzz, and it will lead to the second part. Honestly, besides a lot of this feeling gimmicky, what surprised me the most, this was the first Sony game that I can think of that is using the Unreal Engine. Like they're using the Unreal Engine for The Last of Us. So interestingly, this is the first time we've seen a Naughty Dog game use the Unreal Engine. I'm just saying that's interesting to me. In the trailer, they show Unreal Engine, and then they show like the clickers and stuff like that. So we're technically seeing like Ellie and all this different stuff in the Unreal Engine. That's interesting. So I'm assuming they are using the Unreal Engine because it's pretty easy to program user interactive experiences. The trailer is interesting. It kind of is going into this theme on how Sony is strategizing their success, not through a traditional roadmap for upcoming games, but building upon what's already there and trying to establish their IPs as a way to get them to be successful. That can be proved with the next articles as well. But I'll put a pause on right there because it's like the first article. It's interesting. A smell-o-vision Last of Us game. So, Fuzz, what are your thoughts on some of this stuff?
I wouldn't go with Last of Us as the smell-o-vision one, but I can think of a game where it would make sense. Although car enthusiasts will get it, people that aren't necessarily car enthusiasts may not. Gran Turismo, like burning rubber, the smell of fuel. Like if you've ever been to a racetrack, it has a certain smell, especially if you're near the pits or something like that. And I know that doesn't sound great, but like if you're a petrol head or if you're into cars that way, nothing smells better than burning rubber and that high octane fuel at a racetrack. Like that, it's a different type of smell. That's what kind of got me hooked on cars with my uncle racing back when I was like 4 years old and being in the car after he won a race. And yeah, I was hooked ever since. But I would use that. I don't know if they're going to have like a smoke machine as well for like the burnouts and stuff. But yeah, that to me would have probably been the better smell-o-vision use. But it sounds like a lot of stuff for the holodeck. Like it would be great if we were that close to Star Trek world level stuff at this point, but it almost feels like we're going backwards. I mean, we might go to Mars here in the next few years, but holodeck I don't think is quite anywhere in the next 10, 20 years, like except for maybe on a small scale with a VR headset kind of thing. But maybe that's how all of that works. Like, I guess eventually instead of just covering your eyes, it also covers your nose and mouth or something, that still seems like a weird concept to me. But like a holodeck, if that was a doable thing, I think it's great that they're trying it, but I don't like VR really isn't grasp the masses yet. Like I keep saying once VR headsets, although pricing is about to go out the window here soon, unless we start making these things stateside or whatever. I always thought like if you can get a wireless headset with head tracking and all that also has pass through, that's in color and the the resolutions, 4K level on your eyeballs, I think a price point in the 300 range. Like if you could get all of that tech into $300 package and it'd be wireless, I think that's when the masses adopted, but we haven't gotten there yet. We're close, Like the was it the MetaQuest 3S is not too far off. It's like $300, but it still has like one wire, I think. I mean, unless you're
Mm.
just doing the self-contained stuff, but like if you want to hook it to your PC, although I guess there's wireless adapters if you're doing it as like an upres from your PC for VR games that way. But we're not that close. So what they're doing just seems like a gimmick for a movie or something that might be 20 years down the road. I mean, it would be great if it was sooner, but I don't know. I It's the part that makes me feel weird about the direction of Sony. Like they've had some awesome success as far as a lot of their first part or not first part, but like their first party games and things like that. But to redo that game so you're in an immersive sim kind of thing where you can smell the enemy kind of deal. I don't know. I like it's already sometimes a hassle having a clear enough room, move the coffee table and stuff like that for the headset stuff or the VR stuff.
Hmm.
Now you need a whole room, and maybe some screens on each one of the walls. Although
Yep.
it still seems like a VR headset would be the better way to go. But like, more power to them. It just feels like it's a nice R&D experiment that probably won't really garner anything. And as far as like they were saying like smell-o-vision from the 60s, I remember when they tried to talk about that, and I don't think people want to smell what they're watching. Like it's I know there's that curiosity, like, oh yeah, that would be great in a horror movie, or that would be great in, like I guess if you're watching like Hell's Kitchen or something like that, maybe it would be a good idea. But then you're going to smell that, and then you're going to want to order takeout or make something yourself, and it's like,
And make sure you eat first.
yeah, it's definitely going to be more problematic. Probably be like, oh well, there goes all of your leg day workout that you did, and you get up there eating whatever they're making on the show and stuff. But great in concept. I don't know how the execution is going to be. That's I don't think we're there yet. Like
Yeah.
maybe 20 years from now, maybe when I'm closer to senior citizen home age or whatever, that's when they'll probably have it, and I'll be like, "Oh, great! It'd be great to have smell-o-vision because in this old folks' home, it smells like piss and medicine." So that would be the time to have it. But now, I don't think we're ready. I don't think what the expense would probably be to have something like that. Like I said, you'd have to have a holodeck in your house, and I'm finally getting my man cave back. So I don't know if I want to convert that, or for the price I'd probably it'd take to convert my man cave into that would probably be the cost of a whole new house at that point. So
Yep.
I don't know. We're far from this being ready for the public, the masses, I guess you could say.
Yeah, like tech wise, like I'm all for progression and innovation in the tech space. Like, because eventually, me and Pong are in the same boat here, where I want to put on a some sort of headset thing, and then all of a sudden I'm in the world, kind of like you guys ever watched the show Sword Art Online or something like that, where I'm inside of the game. I'm all for that. However, we're in a state right now where a lot of this stuff is pretty unfeasible. Like even if you're looking at the trailer here, and there you can see a team sort of setting up these hundreds of LED screens in this room and stuff like that. Like, it's not viable for the current market. Like, I can't see me being able to invest in this. Like, it's cool for like demonstration purposes or whatever. Like I seen in the trailer there's like a couple of people who walk in the room with like shotguns, and they have like a flashlight, and the flashlight is linked to what the game is actually doing, which is pretty cool. There is no VR headset. That stuff is cool. I just, feasibility wise, my problem is actually with the feasibility. It's kind of my same argument with like VR headsets. Like a lot of the investment is on your end first. Like you have to invest in a lot for you to get that experience. And until they can market that where it's easier for the customer to have a bunch of LED screens, like maybe if I set it up in this room, then I can always just see it as a tech demo. And that's something they'll always have to solve. So that's why it's like it's cool for me to always see this stuff at like CES and stuff. But can I ever actually experience it? Probably not. Probably not. So until they figure that part out, making the tech feasible, easy to set up, like dumb friendly, like a 2-year-old can set this sort of thing up, then yeah, that's when I could see this work. So yeah. I'm like, it is very gimmicky. It's very gimmicky. I know smell is one of the senses, is one of the senses that can affect other senses. So I could see it being immersive in certain scenarios. But I don't know if Last of Us was the game to do it, because I imagine Last of Us being a funky smelling apocalyptic world. Like I can't imagine that game smelling very good. I don't want to, and if the smell is somehow like, I don't know if they are somehow like putting the program to smell in certain scenarios, and it's like maybe like a smoke or something. That thing stays on you. I don't want to be smelling funky even afterward. I don't know how it works. I know someone in the chat mentioned that the Sega Negative Zero. He says, "I remember when the Sega was working on a smell-o-vision for the Dreamcast. I didn't even know that was a thing. But does that stay on you? Like, am I gonna smell like The Last of Us after I'm done playing?" just things to think about.
The Last of Us lasts with you.
The last whiff of you. This was what will be called. But interesting. But I kind of broke this up into 3 different sections because it's, to me, it's kind of indicative of where Sony is going. So this next article is coming from actually comicbook.com. I got 3. I thought it was 2 articles. There's 3 articles. So coming from comicbook.com, the report suggests Bungie's upcoming mystery project is codenamed Gummy Bears and features MOBA-like gameplay. Another inspiration for Gummy Bears is Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Series. Let me actually put up here's a concept art that was supposedly leaked from this project. So Project Gummy Bears details include a divergence from traditional health bars, opting instead for a percentage-based damage system similar to Super Smash Bros. Like the platform fighter, characters are knocked further away the more damage they have taken and inflicted with significant amounts, allowing players to knock each other off the stage. This is the core of Super Smash Bros. Gameplay, making the influence plain to see. Bungie's game Gummy Bears will reportedly feature multiple game modes and feature 3 classes: attack, defense, and support. The main gameplay will be PvP, but this doesn't rule out PvE elements. If the rumors are true, Gummy Bears has been in development for 3 years and is considered Bungie's most fun project internally. Further diverting from Bungie's other works, Gummy Bears aims to appeal to a younger audience through a shift in its tone. Compared to previous Bungie games, Gummy Bears features lo-fi and cozy vibe, lo-fi, whatever, and cozy vibes compared to previous Bungie games. Lowering the stakes compared to the likes of Halo and Destiny. Images from Project Gummy Bears supports this. You guys see the image right there. It's very cheerful. It says in cheerful, with cheerful and colorful aesthetics. Even more interesting is a recent patent filed by Bungie. The patent aims to establish a unique MOBA system in which towers can act and move rather than remain stationary. According to the filing, towers would be able to move and jump, even dodge attacks. These towers would possess special abilities such as releasing an area of effect attack to stun enemies after being damaged. So, I threw this in there because I thought it was interesting where Sony could be going with some of his franchises. So we've seen the interactive experience with what they want to do with The Last of Us. Not sure how we would ever be able to play that, but cool, sure. Interactive experience there. This, on the other hand, is kind of indicative of like maybe they are doing some sort of all-stars type vibes with their franchises. Like maybe they start adding in other characters from the worlds and make it more friendly, more kid friendly. Maybe just the sequel to All Stars technically, or maybe it's something completely different. I don't know. But it does kind of go into where PlayStation could be headed as a studio of like which direction. So what do you think, Fuzz? Like, does this interest you? Is this I don't know. They mentioned a couple of things there, like a MOBA system, the patent. Yeah. They've been working on this for like 3 years. So what are your thoughts?
Oof. I mean, after looking at the image, it looks like somebody that's trying to capture that Fortnite vibe to some extent without it looking like Fortnite. Like, I like that it's colorful, but like what you were saying, as far as like if it's an All Stars thing, I just imagine Kratos with like drumsticks, because I guess you don't want to have him with hatchets or something.
You have Kratos doing like the Dougie or something like that. Yeah.
But I wish the best of luck to Bungie, because it just feels like they're before they were more of the trendsetter. They were the ones that did the first person shooter the best, and then they made their looter shooter, first person shooter kind of deal. I get that they're trying to chase that Escape from Tarkov trend, although I'm hearing mixed messages between it being Escape from Tarkov and like a hero shooter for Marathon. I like the video that they showed when they did the unveiling a couple of years ago and stuff, but Gummy Bears, I think when we first heard something about this, or that they were working on a game, it was like, oh no, not another Fortnite wannabe kind of game. I don't know. I don't think it will do well. Like, it is Bungie, so their fans will more than likely give it the benefit of the doubt to try it.
Hey guys, we're coming at you live from
if it makes sense that this would be multi-plat, much like Marathon will more than likely be multi-plat, or continue to be multi-plat as they originally specified. But I don't. It's weird. I hate making like a judgment call, but it's like I don't see the player base on PlayStation gravitating to it as much
because they haven't trained their audience to like these type of games. But
like I'm assuming a good bit of their player base is playing Marvel Rivals, which is great, but somehow they missed the boat on Concord. And I know people hate when I bring up Concord, Ghost of Concord or whatever, but I wish them the best on this. It doesn't sound like something that would interest me. I hope there's enough people out there to give it a try and give it a shot. But if it's something that's going to be more kid friendly for Sony, I would say stick with Astrobot. Make Astrobot your Smash Bros kind of brawler. Like, add a mode into that where everybody creates their own, Astrobot, and do something along those lines. I think that would probably go further, but that's just me. But more power to them if they can get this game to catch fire on that platform and finally give them a games as a service that's continuously bringing in the dough. Great. I would say they probably also need to figure out how to continue getting people to do their PSN login for PC on Helldivers 2, but that game is doing well on its own. Hopefully it continues to do well, and hopefully this one does well as well, but I'm not going to bother trying it. It's just not my type of game.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, Sony's business model kind of working against them in a couple ways. Like, they need to I mean, if this game is multiplat, that's good. Because when you have like a game that's supposed to be, let's say, a hero shooter like Concord, the major problem that we all said even before the game came out was you're going in a market that you're going to get some hefty competition. So that's the first problem you have already. Like, you need to pull people away from games that are, first off, they're free and you're charging $70. Why should I invest in that game? And we are now in the space in the industry where you can't just jump in and just make a hero shooter and just expect people to just try it. You have to give people more incentive to want to try it because of how competitive the modern day industry is. So when you are saying, I want to make another extraction shooter with Marathon, good luck. You really have to stand out somehow. It can't. It's sad, but it's honestly not enough for you to just be a good shooter, especially if you're in the extraction space. You have to be a good shooter and have something that makes your game unique at the same time. That's just the type of game, like, you're kind of is kind of the field you're jumping into, because you have a lot of games that are extraction shooters, or in Concord's case, that sort of hero shooter vibe, that are free. They have a long-standing fan base. You have your Overwatches. It's just like, you have to prove to people like why I should buy the game. So they have that going against it. They have their own business model where they set it up where people kind of expect you to make a certain type of game, which is not multiplayer type games. You have to kind of shift their mind over time. You don't typically have you don't have a lot of studios set up for multiplayer type experiences besides really Bungie that I can think of to really do that. So I don't know. They have a couple problems there. Making sure that a game like this, if you want it to reach a certain audience, to put it on multiple platforms, that's going to alienate some people. But that's something they should do. If you're going to put it on multiple platforms, if it's a certain type of game. But I feel like this game probably exists to be that PlayStation All-Stars vibe. Like, it seems like the theme for this week for Sony is to increase their IP, and put it everywhere. Like, let's make a God of War toys. Let's make, Last of Us on everything. It's like their core franchises being Horizon, Helldivers. They are really trying to do something interesting with their franchises, which is like, not build any new ones, but look at what they have, and build from there. And it's honestly, to me, it's a smart strategy based on where they are in the market. Like, they don't have the same amount of money that Xbox and Microsoft has. They don't have the same amount of money that Microsoft is a beast. It is a monster in terms of what they have financially, what franchises they now have. So Sony, the way they are competing, I feel like it is smart. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of I don't care too much for it. It's smart business wise. But as a gaming fan, I could care less if there's a Horizon movie and things like that. That doesn't do anything for me, but it makes sense for them to try and get more people interested in their other stuff. Like, hybrid wise, what we've seen, like Nate Dogg mentioned in the chat, like Fallout, a lot of people who watch the Fallout show ended up playing the game right after the show. So there is a interesting medium switch that's kind of happening here, where the people are watching the show first. Maybe they would have never played the game, and then that makes them want to buy the game. And I think Sony is recognizing that. So yeah, we'll see.
They had that with like The Last of Us. That series, I think, drew a lot of people to relook at The Last of Us. I mean, they did have their remake at around the same time, so that kind of helped things. But they don't really have a lot of the movies and TV. It's almost like they should have announced that before Ghost of Yotai. Now, I'm still, looking forward to Ghost of Yotai, but if they had made mention of that anime prior, I think that would have been huge, because there were people complaining about it being a female character. I don't get it. Me personally, as long as I get to slice people like a samurai, I don't care who I'm playing as. But mention that there's an anime. At least if you're a Jin fan, then you would know maybe in the anime of how his story ends, or you'd be like, well, I could just watch the anime and then I can play this new game to see what the next story is. Maybe they even introduce like this could be his great granddaughter or something, whatever the case may be, type of deal. But the movies definitely, if you time the movies right or TV shows right, they could help your game do well. Although I know I shouldn't bring it up, but what was that secret level thing with Concord didn't quite make it to help it in time. So
yeah, it was a little too late. A little too secret, I guess. And the whole thing with Ghost of Yotai, I will never understand. Like the backlash on female characters because they're female characters. I've seen comments where people mention with Siri, for example. You can see our live reaction actually. People in the chat was complaining about it. We're like, it makes sense for her. Like, did you actually play the game? Because someone mentioned, I forgot where it was. Maybe someone messaged me or it was in passing or something like that. Someone mentioned like, it's like, what, you play as Siri? Like what happened to Geralt? Like this DEI or whatever they said. It was something kind of like akin to that. And I said, do you realize that you can play Siri in Witcher 3? They're like, no, you can't.
I guess they didn't play enough of it.
That's the thing. Like, people like to complain. Like, did you actually play Witcher 3? Because if you did, it totally makes sense for Siri to be heavily involved in this game. Now that I think in developer interviews they mentioned the fact that like you'll still play as Geralt and stuff like that. Just Siri might have a bigger role. It makes sense. Now, how did she become a Witcher and stuff? You want them to give you that info now? Like, play the game, find out. So I don't know. That was crazy to me. But let's read some of the chat, and we'll go to this last article, and then we'll get to our final topic. So Nate Dogg says, I'm always going to be obsessed with Fallout 3-bit. I think it's New Vegas 2 situation where Bethesda gives them the engine and they make it in 2 years again. Hopium, but Obsidian could do it. Yeah, if there's any studio who could do it, Obsidian, I don't know how they do it, but they be pumping out games very fast. It feels like, anyways. Super talented studio. Any thoughts on that, Fuzz?
Yeah, I honestly believe because Obsidian is supposed to have at least one, if not two, other games. I know people might hate me for it. I still wanted to do like a Fallout New Vegas 2 kind of thing, if possible. But Stormlands was their pet project. Well, not pet project, but their pitch for a launch title for the Xbox One. That would be an interesting take on like 100 concurrent players in a MMO kind of deal. Oh. And you're fighting dragons and it's like high fantasy type stuff. So, and then each person, like it's a a continuous, persistent world. So if the dragon lands and there's like 50 of us there, all 50 of us can attack that dragon. And the concept was after you defeat the dragon, you get your piece of the story. So if you had the death blow on, cutting his head or whatever off, then it would show your part of the story, and you would have that as like your story that or your bio for your game. So people will know, oh, he's the dragon decapitator or whatever the case may be, and you might be able to keep that as your title throughout the game. And the person that got burned up would be the Dragon Toast or whatever nickname.
They'll have like unique quests depending on what.
Yeah, and you would get to do all of these things in an open world setting where there's hundreds of players all around you, and it might make for either very interesting stories that you can kind of build yourself, or very frustrating. I don't know if they weren't really mentioning if they were focusing on PvP, but it could be very frustrating if it was PvP related. But I hope that's one of the games. But if the other one is a Fallout based game, yeah, I'm all for it. But they are the wizards of fast turnout, quality turnout when it comes to Xbox first party studios. I mean, there's other ones that do quality work, don't get me wrong. It's just that these guys seem to have multiple teams down to a science where it's like, okay, we have a passion project that we can release this year, a mainline game next year, another passion project, maybe a smaller game here. And it's like they have it like almost like an assembly line. So kudos to them. And yeah, I think they're probably prime candidates to do a Fallout something or other.
100%. Like they do remind me of Insomniac and of like how fast they can develop a game, except they're in the camp of actually developing games I want them to do. So, or potentially do what I want them to do. Insomniac is like such a talented studio, but now they're just pretty much the Marvel studio. Like they in the past have made some incredible other just different genres of games. It's kind of sad when I think about it. But I do like the Spider-Man games, so props to them. But they are the one studio that can develop games pretty quickly. I've heard mumblings about stuff Fallout. I don't know what's true. We'll see. That's all I'll give Nate Dogg, because I know he always asks me. Article 3. This is the last one for Sony. This is the Sony episode. I should have maybe put PS5 in the thumbnail, but we will get to the Dev Derek. This one is actually coming from Fuzz. We finally got to the fuzzy article. So Ravi Huja, I believe is how you say his name. I'm not particularly sure, but he is the CEO. So who officially stepped into his role as CEO of Sony Pictures Entertainment, took the stage. In quotes, we make and distribute over 15 films a year and over 200 television shows across all genres and all platforms around the world, he stated. Adding that, being part of the larger Sony Group family also enables us to do what no other studio can, and seamlessly bridge worlds to create new entertainment experiences for our audiences. PlayStation Productions is a perfect example. We're not simply adapting games into movies and TV shows. We're thoughtfully expanding these beloved universes in ways that honor and thrill fans of the games and captivate new audiences. And with Sony's renowned technology, we're able to bring these stories to life with unparalleled quality. It's kind of this theme that is with all these articles, but we'll get to that. Assad, I don't know how to say his last name. Assad Q from PlayStation Productions and Ashley Brooks from Screen Gems then took the stage. Assad said, at PlayStation Productions, we take the emotive storytelling in immersive gameplay experiences from PlayStation Studios and partner with Sony Pictures to spin that shared DNA into movies, TV shows, and animations that come to life on the big and small screens. He then introduced their latest endeavors. They have begun on adapting the popular PlayStation game Helldivers 2. Let me there's that little image there that you guys get to see. So into a visual production and will release a film adaptation of PlayStation's horror game Until Dawn on April 25th, 2025. Additionally, he noted our vast content creation in the gaming space has the ability to expand our creative and cultural influence. He then highlighted the game title Horizon as an IP with huge potential for expansion into new categories. Then he says, in collaboration with MXM2 in the music video, which was produced using Unreal Engine. So they're starting to use Unreal Engine, not in their games, but in like other, yeah, that's interesting. So it kind of goes into like their announcement of like Columbia Pictures and PlayStation Productions working together for Horizon Zero Dawn. What was interesting is this last part of the article. Next, Neil Druckmann, studio head of Naughty Dog, took the stage. He referred to the phenomenal popularity of The Last of Us. In just over a decade since his debut, and at CES 2025, Sony Group Corporation, SPE, Naughty Dog, and PlayStation are collaborating on a proof of concept for location-based entertainment, a hands-on exhibit allowing visitors to step into the world of The Last of Us. And that's kind of what we saw in that first article. He also announced that the second season of The Last of Us will begin streaming on Max in April 2025. So I want to bring all three of these articles up because they kind of do relate to each other and what I believe the direction of Sony is, where notice how we didn't really get much gaming news or anything like that, or a gaming roadmap. It's more so about what they have and expanding upon that, like which IPs they currently have. How do we take God of War, make either another remake or remaster of that, or make that a movie? How do we take like Helldivers? That's big right now. Let's make that a movie. Let's take Horizon. Oh, let's make a Horizon Lego game and make that a movie. It's kind of like taking their pre-existing stuff and trying to find a way to build upon that, which is smart. Because if you are struggling with a release cadence of like, let me just release a game, let's do it the other way, where we get people interested in our franchises, like have a Last of Us show, and inherently that will make people interested in the game. So you get new customers of a game that's already out. And that way it is really smart, because when you are looking at how many PlayStations there are out there and how many people bought first party games, it's a huge gap actually. Like you'll see, like, for example, you'll see like 1 million people play Last of Us or something like that, and then there's like 15 million or something PlayStations, or there's like a gap between some of their first party games and what people actually end up playing. So what this could do when you announce like a show like Helldivers, it's very easy to watch a show. It's very easy to watch a movie, and then what that could do is make people interested. So out of all three of these articles, that's what I see. Even with the gummy bear thing, that in itself is related to me, because if they go the PlayStation All-Stars route, it would be especially related, just because that's them saying like, we want people to recognize our IP and keep investing within PlayStation. So Buzz, last PlayStation article, kind of wrapping up all of them together. What are your overall thoughts?
Well, great ideas as far as the Horizon movie. Although, like, kind of like what BT Maverick said, it might be a struggle for some. A lot of people joke and call Horizon NyQuil. So
yes,
hopefully the movie will be more action intense. keeping people's attention. I mean, there's enough people out there, I guess, that enjoyed the series. I enjoyed Forbidden West, although I've yet to finish it. But I think part of it was me being pissed that they sort of lied about the flying mounts. Um,
You can't fly everywhere.
well, it takes finishing more than half the game to get to the point where you have more control. Like they tried to say, "Oh, it wasn't possible on PS4 hardware," blah blah blah, and then it's like, "Well, I got PS5 hardware. Why are you making me get to the halfway point of the game before those?" Like, I guess it would. I guess the way they see it, it would probably break the game, but I don't know. But all that aside, I do have one quick quip about Helldivers 2. Like, I love the game, fun with friends, really enjoyable. It just feels weird for a game that's based on a movie, although I guess Starship Troopers was part of Sony Pictures or something. So maybe that's how they get around it. But games based on a movie is now going to have its own movie from a game that was based on the previous.
I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, you're
so
right.
it is kind of weird, but I as long as they knock it out the park, I think people will go to see it. Although it's funny, the Starship Troopers game didn't do as well as Helldivers 2, so maybe they have all the magic and the know-how to get that movie to be as successful or more successful than Starship Troopers, but we'll see. But I really like the idea of Ghost of Tsushima anime. Like that just makes sense. Like they already did everything else with Ghost of Tsushima as far as like I forget what do you call it, Katawawa or no, that's probably not it. But it's like where you have like the black and white version of.
I think it's Katakawa. Yeah. Well, let me look that up. But yeah, go ahead.
So having like they've done everything with that game and it was done beautifully. Now to have the anime, I think that's the coup de grace, and that who knows? Maybe they should even try doing a game in anime style at some point. I don't know. That might be something to look into, but I don't know. I really wish with the announcement of the Horizon movie that they would have at least made mention of the Horizon multiplayer, which I know that they got pushed back as far as it looking too much like Fortnite when some images got leaked. I always thought the perfect version of a multiplayer aspect of Horizon would be to make it like Monster Hunter, but you're hunting Dinobots basically. I thought that would be the killer concept. You and a group of friends go out and hunt these robo dinosaurs and
Kurosawa, sorry.
Yeah, that to me would have been the way to go. But Helldivers movie, more power to them.
Yep.
Still figure out a way to convince more PC players to do that PSN login, which give them free skins. I'm pretty sure you'll start twisting their arms with free stuff. They'll sign up. They'll link their accounts, and you'll have those numbers for your reports and whatnot. But other than that, I don't know. The Last of Us season 2. I don't know if I saw the last part of season 1. Like I gotta check because for a while I was watching it like every week it came out, and then I was like, I think I fell off.
I think I did too
because I started watching Fallout. There was something else that came up.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 2. Looking forward to it. It'll bring more people back to the game, and there's I guess at that point, since it's in April, I think either later this month or next month, Last of Us 2 remastered or for PC is coming out. So kind of perfect timing, I guess. So that'll probably help sell more of that. I mean, I'm pretty sure they sold 15 million copies, or I know it's over 11 million copies at least on Last of Us 2. The first one did double that, but some people didn't necessarily, I guess, like the second one. But having the TV series hit around the time that they do the PC release, that should help. But games, we want games. People teased Xbox for TV, Xbox One generation. want some more games for at least announcements. Like Ghost of Yotai, great. Intergalactic, great. What's Ben Studios working on? Please tell me it's not a games as a service. I know it's unfortunately not Days Gone 2, but
Yeah,
it would have been nice to talk about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of politics with that one. Like even how well it sold. The director of that game kind of speaking out on it probably killed it. Probably.
Yeah.
Even
well, it sold just as many as Horizon did.
Yeah.
Without doing pack-ins. Like people keep on forgetting Horizon was a pack-in shortly after because of it did have slower sales because of what do you call them? Not Tears of the Kingdom. What was the first one?
Breath?
Well, not for Zelda, the on Switch. It was before Tears of Kingdom.
Wasn't that Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. So Breath of the Wild, I think, ate Zero Dawn's lunch.
Yep.
And then they started doing pack-ins. So then it hit that 10 million or 11 million mark. Meanwhile, Days Gone was struggling because it had a bad Metacritic. Well, not struggling, but it in Sony's eyes, it didn't do well because it had a lower score on Metacritic because the game was too powerful for the PS4, to be honest. And it still sold like 10 or 11 million copies. It's just that it didn't get the praise that Zero Dawn did because Herman Hulse, I guess, coming from that studio and then being promoted. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe there's some bad blood there too. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something weird with that game behind the scenes wise. Like Sony is such a big component on Metacritics as well, which is why I also think their hold in the industry is very strong. To the point where they will blacklist the heck out of people if you do not give them a good review. I believe that for several reasons. Like there's actual evidence of that, but I believe that in the case where they will give their developers bonuses. You look this up. They will give their developers bonuses based on Metacritic scores. So I think that game not hitting, I forgot what the Metacritic score was for that game, but
I think it was like 70. It was somewhere between 77 and 79 for Days Gone.
And it wasn't very for me. Like I really wanted to like that game just because like it had everything I was looking for. Maybe it's just this. I just have to play it again, but it's like the start is so slow.
If you played it on PS4, there were some frustrating things with all those zombies on screen that would be juddery at times.
Yeah,
PS5 plays it pretty smooth, or at least for me. So I've had a better experience playing it on PS5 than I did on PS4.
Yeah, that's one of those games I might go back and check out because I think I was facing the stuttering and then the start is kind of slow. So those mixed together, I was like, nah. But I always wanted to go back because I know they had the performance stuff for PS5 and things like that. So I'm actually go back and see that. Let's read some of you guys' comments. You guys are killing it. So Negative Zero says, I was gifted Helldivers 2. I wasn't really into it. Only played it with friends who gifted to me. Overrated, in my opinion. I haven't got a chance to play Helldivers 2. I know Mav played it a lot. He really liked it. Yeah, I don't know. I want to play it. I have nothing against it. It looks really fun.
I had fun with it. It's definitely not as fun solo until you leveled up your gear. If you have like the drone and stuff, you can probably solo stuff a little bit better. Randoms, because friendly fire can ruin a game. It depends on if the randoms are just being foolish or if they're not paying attention. It can ruin the experience, but it's one of those games that's more fun with friends. So if you weren't having as much fun with your friends, then it's probably not your type of game.
Yeah.
But it has its moments. But like I said, playing with Jasper, playing with Pong, playing with Mav, playing with Steel, it was fun. Like even if we're getting bombarded with our own artillery drops and stuff. Because there were times where I know I wound up killing Steel once because I did the artillery drop on the crab thing, and the thing kept following me, and I was trying to run in a circle, not realizing Steel was kind of like behind me shooting it. Like he's behind the thing shooting it. I'm running away from the thing, trying to call in the artillery strike, and I moved, I guess, too fast or didn't circle back around, and it landed on him instead of the thing. And then I know Mav bombarded Jasper once, and I think he may have hit Pong too, but then Pong got him back or something. It was just it's fun in that regard, but like outside of that, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. But I enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I would play it if I knew I had a crew to go with. But yeah, he mentioned he played with friends, so it's not the game for you, I guess. But I have nothing against it. I definitely want to try it at some point. Understanding says earlier, wouldn't a Helldivers show just be a Starship Trooper ripoff? Yeah, it would. But like if you like Starship Trooper, maybe you'll like this because we haven't had a good Starship Trooper thing in a while. So if you like Starship Trooper, and they do it right, this could be interesting. I feel like Helldivers would be better as a TV show. Like when they were announcing the different movies and stuff, it really made, like, I could see Ghost of Tsushima being a really cool anime and stuff like that, but I also feel like that could be a great movie. You get like the directors from whoever did Shogun, get some of that cast too, amazing actors in Shogun. You guys should definitely check it out if you haven't, and make that a movie. That would be that has potential to be like, and the Oscar goes to, that type of vibes. Just saying.
Yeah.
BT Maverick says you can fly on the Steam Deck. He was talking about Horizon, I think, when he said that.
Yeah. It allows you to fly midway in the story, but I was expecting you'd be able to fly as soon as you got to him. Like I'm that guy that doesn't necessarily follow the story like you're supposed to, so I was exploring, and I think I came across the flying enemies or dinos, and I tried hitting it with the same spear that you're supposed to be able to once you have that control thing, but the control thing only opens up to, other than like the mule or the reindeer type things, as you get further in the game. And I'm like, oh, I want to be able to fly right away. It's like after about probably 6 hours of main story stuff, then you can fly anywhere. But that was the only complaint I had. But yeah, the Steam Deck is powerful enough for the flying mechanic. I don't know why they couldn't get it right on the PS4. You just couldn't, no matter what you did, you couldn't fly the Hawk things from the first game and stuff like that.
Yeah. Every time I try to get into Horizon, I fall asleep. Honestly, it's just so boring to me. I wish I could get past out of the tutorial like sections to really dive into the game, because the clips I see looks fun, but I think I'm good with Horizon in the future. Like it's just so boring to me. Maybe if I had someone like skip past those sections so I could get to those interesting combat scenarios, then I would like it. But man, I've tried multiple times. So it's just not the game for me, I think. So BT Maverick says he says Kurosawa. I looked it up, thank you.
Yeah.
I think, what did we say? Kataka? That's
I think was that the company that they were trying to buy.
Yeah, that's the people who do, like, what do they do? Like the people who do Dark Souls. Yeah.
They're
Katakawa. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, Kurosawa. Thanks for looking that up for us, or if you knew it. And he mentions, let me scroll up. The Death Stranding movie, mostly because he loves a lot of A24 movies. Yes. I love A24 movies as well. I will watch any A24 movie going forward. They have earned my dollar, for sure. I love their movies. Civil War was probably my favorite movie last year. BT Maverick says, I still gotta watch that. That's the one A24 movie I kind of missed out on. Because I started watching it on a plane, then my plane landed, and I was like, nah, I forgot about it. Helldiver 2 RSJ fan says is only good with friends. Yeah, seems that's the theme. Sappho says I'm not playing Helldivers 2. I can't believe after this is the success of PS4, Sony squandered all that time, all that success to be complacent. Listen, they don't understand how to formulate certain multiplayer type games. I think we've seen that as a pattern multiple times on multiple occasions. So that's something they'll have to prove over time, that they have the multiplayer studios, the know-how. So I don't know. We'll see. That PSN thing does not help. The fact that you offered the game to people and you basically took it away to basically please your shareholders. I will always look at that sideways and be like, do you really want to be successful or like what? But,
I mean, they could have still counted those players through the Steam portal. Like, I know I don't work for Sony, but I remember, at least from the 2010s and early 2020s, whenever you're trying to, show your numbers as far as interactive players or customers and stuff. If Steam has your customers, you can still count them through the portal. It's just that you won't be able to easily direct market them, but you could lure them by saying, hey, get these free skins for your characters in Helldivers if you connect your PSN. And if that doesn't work, start throwing them like free coins for some of the unlockables in the game. That would have worked, because people would be like, wait, if I link this account, I can upgrade my drops and stuff. Yeah, let me do that.
Yeah,
people will do that. Like, if you give them loot in the game and it's a looter game, they're going to link their account. Well, not everybody, because some of them will be like, I don't trust Sony, I'm not doing nothing. But those are the same ones that you wouldn't be able to convince them anyway. So just count those as, oh, well, we have 1 million players on Steam that haven't connected their account. It is what it is. But you got, your 70 or no, $40 out of them or whatever it was when it came out. So
yeah, 100%. I wonder. I mean, they're requiring it. Like, I know some people starting to complain about that. Like, they're requiring it even in single player games and stuff like that. My whole problem with that is, like, you didn't initially require it, so I guess it's fine if you do it later, or if you do it in the very beginning. But if you require it after people already signed it, and then you try to make it look like on your terms of service that it was always in there, like they erase pages on their website, added new ones, and be like, oh yeah, this was always in there. That's my problem. That was the whole thing. That says the media gave Helldivers 2 over 2 weeks to fix issues before they reviewed it. Not one mention of bugs in Spider-Man 2, and still only 17 reviews for Black Myth Wukong on the PS5 on Metacritic. Yeah. We could have a whole show about that, but it's basically kind of what I've been saying with how Sony has a hold on the media and how they review games and et cetera, et cetera. That's why you'll see like a game review higher on the PS5 and then it's reviewed lower on the Xbox, and it could be reviewed by the same person or the same time. It is what it is. Like
the DualSense makes it out that much better.
So, yeah, no, makes it
really. It doesn't.
10 points better. It's DualSense. It's just the way the media. I've accepted it at this point. It's like a funny thing now when I see it. I'm just like, wow. It's like blatantly obvious to me. Which is like, oh, that reminds me. Who's the guy? Denier of Xbox tax. Destin Legary has finally left IGN. So I wonder if he will finally admit the Xbox tax. Let me know this.
He got the Xbox tax in his face from his co-host. So that one day, it's like, what games does Xbox even have coming? It's like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, that was like, it was actually really funny because like it was that same weekend where people was sending him my post live, and there where I talked about the Xbox tags. People sent him my posts where I kind of break down why there is, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not reading that." Whatever he said on the live, I can't remember, but I wonder if him leaving, maybe he'll admit to it now, or maybe not. I don't know. I'm curious, Destin. BT Maverick says, looked it up. It was on the tip of my tongue. Horizon is really boring. The games look really good, though. Some of the best looking graphics I've ever seen. Yes. I agree. Graphically, it looks amazing. I think the hero lighting is artistically amazing. The hero lighting I haven't seen done in a game before. Some people can hate it or whatever. I think it's cool. Visually, I have no complaints visually. I just story-wise, I never was able to get into it. It is boring to me, but I digress. Hey Fuzzy, just tired of the bias. He says, yeah, it's nothing. Like, come to these shows, and we'll break it down for you. that's the best you can do, because you're not gonna get it from the media. The media is not gonna admit any of that stuff. We got one more topic, Fuzz.
Oh yeah,
big one. Big one. So this is gonna be pretty cool. So the Dev Direct. So here's the thing. I don't know about y'all, but being in the podcast space, you sometimes get the same topics on different shows, right? But Fuzz, there's something about these pixelated walls that we're in that sometimes brings on a different lens of conversation. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's just me and you talking back and forth. We can think of different things. But for those who don't know, Xbox is slated to have their next developer direct, and here are the official announcements. This is listed on their website. So it says, time to get a look at what's next. Developer Direct is back on Thursday, January 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. UK. Fans will get an inside look at a selection of highly anticipated games coming to Xbox Series X, PC, and Game Pass players this year. Presented by the game creators themselves, Developer Direct offers an in-depth look at upcoming titles, how they're being created, and who's creating them. We'll visit Compulsion Games in Montreal, Canada, to learn more about South of Midnight. Head to Montpellier, France, to see Sandfall Interactive for a look at Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And then stop by the legendary ID Studios in Richardson, Texas. I had no idea they were in Texas. To check in on Doom, The Dark Ages. And visit a surprise location to see another studio's brand new game. We were speculating the heck out of what this game could be. We'll get into that. Let me finish up these details. Fans should tune in on Xbox channels January 23rd to see all the latest on Doom, The Dark Ages. Kind of goes into what Dark Ages is. Dark Ages is the prequel to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Tells the epic cinematic origin story of the Doomslayer's rage in this third installment of the modern Doom series. Players will step into the bloodstained boots of the Doomslayer in this never before seen dark and sinister medieval war against hell. Freaking epic. I can't wait for that game. Then we got South of Midnight. Compulsion Games. The creators of Contrast and We Happy Few will share a deep dive on South of Midnight, a third-person action-adventure game set in the American Deep South. As Hazel, you will explore the mythos and confront mysterious creatures inspired by Southern folklore to unravel her family's hidden past in this dark modern folktale. I'm actually interested in that. I wonder if she's actually trapped in a book this whole time or something like that, or yeah, I don't know. I wonder how her family is involved. I don't think they dove into that yet. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Sandfall Interactive will take us behind the scenes at their studio to shed some light on the development of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This debut studio's incredible new RPG. The team will share more about the game's creation and how they plan to deliver an incredible story in a gorgeous fantasy world. So, super excited for this, Fuzz. If I was to pick what I was most excited for, talk about another show, it'd have to be South of Midnight. Just because it's new, there's not a lot of games in the American Deep South. A lot of it is based on folklore, told by word of mouth over the years. There is not a lot of games based in the American Deep South, so I'm just overall interested in that. Not a lot of games based on the New Orleans vibe. The closest I've seen is Mafia 3. Great game. So I'm interested in seeing how they tackle some of the Southern folklore that I haven't really heard much of. Like I'm looking forward to playing it, but also researching some of it. Like I don't know every single Southern folklore, but I would love to look at a creature, have people speculate, oh, this is from this story or something like that. Like I'm kind of interested in that conversation as well. So a lot of cool things here. We kind of speculate on what this mystery game could be. Pong mentioned some good things. Like I think we speculated that maybe this could be Double Fine's game here. Yeah. They've been working in the shadows for a while, and it could be this game. I speculated maybe this is the time for the Wu-Tang game, Project Shaolin, to finally come about. I looked everywhere. During that last episode, I was researching because I don't know. Believe it or not, I worked on the first developer direct. I don't work in the gaming industry anymore. Therefore, I don't get any freaking insider things as much as I used to. I still know a couple people. But it's kind of fun because now I get to finally speculate. You guys don't have to look at my face when I actually know the answers. But I generally don't know. I have no idea what this mystery game could be. So I think Project Shaolin could make an appearance. It'd be cool just to see. I looked up because there's 11 question marks on the preview picture that's in the developer direct. Mav was mentioning like oh what could these 11 be? Because it'd be Netherrealm. Like if you take Netherrealm, that's 11 characters. Someone mentioned Voodoo Vince 2. Which was actually smart. I'm like, why would it be Voodoo Vince? Whatever. And then if you type in Voodoo Vince 2, that's exactly 11 characters. So I was like, okay, all right, you were onto something there. Maybe. So it's just fun to speculate what this could be. The Wu-Tang game, the only thing I found of what this could potentially be is I looked up an event that Brass Lion Entertainment is the people who make Wu-Tang. Yeah. And they just did an event with some Xbox people. Rod Ferguson, they did a couple things. It was like a DICE convention. I was like, oh, interesting timing. I'm just saying. So could be a thing, maybe not, but it's fun to speculate. So, Fuzz, any thoughts you have of the Dev Direct, and maybe some insights here?
Well, like you, I'm also looking forward to South of Midnight. Having some family from the South, learned about, I can't remember what they're referred to, but it's like up here in the North, like the Jersey Devil. There are similar lore tales about creatures and things there as well. So looking forward to seeing some of the ones that they bring up, and just love what I've seen so far, the traversal and everything. I kind of get in, some people will probably look at me sideways for it, but I kind of get almost like Kingdom Bridge of Spirits without like the little cute furry things.
Oh yeah.
Like as far as the platforming aspect, and I enjoyed that part of that game. So I'm hoping that it's similar, although it looks like you get to do more floating or flying and things like that. So that I definitely can't wait to give a try. Also looking forward to Expedition 33. I mean, Doom is a given because, childhood and
Yeah,
everything. But Expedition 33 is like, I'm not the biggest turn-based RPG fan, but this is more of that modern turn-based look, kind of like the way Like a Dragon was to some extent. It looks like it is a lot faster pace in comparison, like a Persona kind of deal. So and visually it's stunning. So looking forward to that one as well. But for this secret one, man, the possibilities are endless. Although first Aaron Greenberg made mention that it's a new wait, no,
he said like
not announced or unannounced title.
unannounced. Yeah,
He didn't say anything about new IP or anything like that, but he did say unannounced, which means it could be just about anything that hasn't been officially announced. So it can't be obviously things like Joanna Dark. It can't be Contraband. It can't be
yeah. Because the first were like, oh, maybe Contraband. I'm like, no, that's been announced. Like,
yeah.
it does help because it kind of eliminates some games to the degree because they have so many games in development. It helps in that regard.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be E-Day because that's already been announced. Although there are some rumblings that maybe that gets announced at some point, or maybe that's an additional one. My initial thoughts first, before looking at what some people have been saying, was this might be the time where Square Enix comes in, like they did last year. They came in, they gave us Visions of Mana, and I kind of figured maybe Final Fantasy 16. Hearing some rumors now about Final Fantasy 7. I always thought Final Fantasy 7 would wait to come to Xbox until the third iteration, and then we get the whole collection as opposed to chapter by chapter type of deal. But Final Fantasy 16, I think is, it's about time it comes to the Xbox platform. It just recently released on PC after being on PS4 and not really meeting expectations without them not saying it did meet expectations. Right. So that was my initial thought. But then Jason Ronald, a racing fan, much like myself. I mean, he's into other forms of games as well, but he was on ILP a couple of years back before the launch of Forza Horizon 5. And he was like, my most anticipated game hasn't been announced yet. And then once it was announced, he, let everybody know that, Forza Horizon 5 was the game that he was looking for or forward to. Yeah. He made a similar tweet. He's like, these are my 4 most anticipated games. And maybe I'm putting too much on to what he's saying with anticipated games, because that could be a wide variety of things. But last time he said it, Forza Horizon 5 was announced. Forza Horizon 5 is starting to get a little long in the tooth. They changed up their flow this holiday. They didn't do the gifting a car thing. So maybe it's time to announce Forza Horizon 6. Now, me personally, I always thought Forza Horizon 6 is a 26 title. I've said this times before. 2026, I thought was going to be the year of the sixes. Before Gear 6 technically was given a name being E-Day, even though it's not Gear 6 because it's like a prequel. But I associated that as Gear 6. 26 is my thoughts. Elder Scrolls 6, even though it's probably pushed back, I figure it would be 26. Even GTA 6, I figure would get pushed to 2026. And of course, Forza Horizon 6, I thought would be a 2026 title, with Fable coming out this year. So I honestly don't know what this one is. I would love to hear what Forza Horizon 6 is going to be. I'm still hoping for Japan, but I'm hearing some rumors possibly Germany. Either way you look at it, it'll be fun. Because if it's Germany, you got the Autobahn and possibly the Nürburgring that they could incorporate into that. If they do that, they got a hit on their hands if it's Germany. But if it's Japan, just do the Switchback Mountains as far as like, roads that you can drift on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of the highway space, because of a lot of the street racing. Like there's an actual midnight club that was in Japan. Check out, I think there was like a Netflix documentary on it, or maybe it was something I saw on YouTube. But there was like a club of like some well-to-do Japanese businessmen that would buy these high output cars and have them tuned, and they would hold these races, and they would make sure it was like an honorable thing. No people get hurt. no laws broken technically kind of stuff. But if they could incorporate that into like a Forza Horizon 6, I think that will be probably the game I play forever at that point in the Horizon series type of deal. But I don't know. I'm hoping Forza Horizon 6, but I love your idea of with it being Brass Lion and the Project Shaolin, because if that's anything what I think it would be, like kind of like a RPG beat 'em up type of game, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Like that would be even though yeah, there are other beat 'em ups out there, and in fact Towerborn is a beat 'em up kind of. I think this would be a slightly different take, obviously, and if they can incorporate Wu-Tang music and stuff, I would be all for it. So I can't wait to see what it is, though.
And here's what excites me about the Wu-Tang game as well. I went on their website, right? So the president and chief visionary officer, he is the lead designer and combat designer, I guess, for this game. He was lead designer at BioWare. He did Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect Andromeda, and then Wolfenstein and Singularity. But what's crazy to me is the chief executive officer. Her name is Brina Dabby Smith. She is responsible for Def Jam Vendetta. And I feel like the reason why they potentially added her and stuff like that is because of her experience with Def Jam. And I just feel like it could be like a Def Jam type game, like a beat 'em up where you get the Wu-Tang members like beating. I don't know what they plan on doing with the game, but that would be so cool. I'm really down to see that become a thing. It's been very silent. They haven't said anything on social media in a long time. The only posts they've made recently is the DICE thing I mentioned. They had the CEO basically have a DICE meetup with Rod Ferguson and a couple other Xbox people. I'm like, oh, interesting timing. So could be that. If not, I do want to hear from that game at some point. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's read some of his comments and then we'll get on out of here. So we have First Understanding. Appreciate it, man. He says, I like this podcast. It's chill and y'all not on that console warring BS. I'm actually tired of that. It's old now. No dooming and glooming here either. Yes, we're both very excited about games in general. We look at it from our perspective. We try not to be biased here and there with, I don't know. We just take a different approach, I guess. Like, I just straight up say, if I don't like something, I don't like it. If I like it, then cool. You'll see me vibe with it. And I'm not a fan of dooming and glooming the industry. Like, I love the gaming industry. I wanted to succeed. And I'm overall excited about it. It's weird when you have people complain like there's nothing to play this year. Like, I can't get into that mentality. Like, when the Xbox has nothing to play, meanwhile I'm like drowning in games. Like, I can't understand that mentality.
My backlog says
yeah, my backlog says something different. So I don't know. There's a lot for me to play. This is what Pong says. What does he say? The golden age of gaming, and I 100% believe that. There's so many amazing games for us to play out there, and there's a lot to be excited about overall. So cool stuff. But I appreciate that comment, man. That means a lot. Big Mad Mo says, "What if it's Coalition, not Gears?" Though he adds that could be cool. Coalition, they're just an interesting spot because they got Gears E-Day, but they are also helping a lot of other studios around Xbox to really get them in shape for the Unreal Engine. So I wonder if did spin maybe a side project. Didn't Coalition work on like some side game project thing. It was like a tech demo. It was like a year ago.
They worked on the Matrix thing, and then they did another Unreal Engine 5 thing, which I think was kind of them just playing around. But I wouldn't say playing around, but they were probably like testing stuff before they, dove, headfirst into the next Gears game. But I think that smaller project got shelved. But then again, did it get shelved because it was near the end, or did it get shelved because they wanted to finish up E-Day and then they'll hop back to it? Or can't wait to see whatever it is if they ever do decide to release it. But my gut is it's something that we'll see after E-Day releases, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wonder how many people work at Coalition, because it has to be a lot. I have worked with some people at Coalition. How many people work there? How many people work? They got at least 200 plus people. That's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But I look at that just to see like what teams could be split off and things like that to other games, and what that could mean for side projects. It's possible. I'm not gonna denounce anything from possibly showing up here if it makes sense. They could show up. Why not? Let's add them to the bucket of potentially being in here. Then he says, Big Mamo, he always says a boot on next season. I believe that's his thing. Boot on next season in full effect. If you build it, they will come. Game Pass. 100%. 100%. There's a lot of cool games coming. Steffo says they better have Hoodoo and Voodoo in the game. It's huge here in the South and would be a huge miss if it's not in South of Midnight. Yeah, I'm sure like some of the creature folklore and stuff, maybe they'll have like a boss battle where he's a voodoo type person that you have to defeat. I'm sure they'll have like elements of voodoo in there. I don't think it'll be like the whole thing. I could be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, it is a huge thing in the South, so they gotta have it somewhere. It was even in Mafia 3. I remember there was like some voodoo mission or something like that. Definitely gotta have it. Big Mad Mo says, how can you doom and gloom with the lineup we got? 100%. We got. Let me figure out where I am. Big Mad Mo says, I love console warring. To an extent, like I don't mind like the dabbling in the console war, like Sony sucks, but I don't make it like my whole thing, like I'll dabble. It's like a light sauce, a light sprinkling.
You'll hear me throw jabs at Sony sometimes. Like my main thing is like, this is probably the first generation of PlayStation I've owned that's collected this much dust. Like even during PS4, I was still playing some of their first party stuff. Like right now, the only first party I'm playing is GT7. I haven't picked up Forbidden West since I put it down. Haven't picked up Spider-Man 2 since I bought it. It's just like I'm better off playing things like Stalker 2 or Indiana Jones right now, or my big one has been for like the past couple of years. Not a couple of years, but like for the past year and a half has been Starfield, and then I fell back into State of Decay 2. So it's like, and I yet to put Forza Horizon 5 down. So, and then there's third party stuff like Dragon's Dogma 2, whatnot. So it's like, and everything that comes in the Game Pass day one, and there's just so much.
It's the ecosystem too, man. Like again, I think Mav mentioned on the last show that like NBA 2K had some cross play thing. It's like when I invest on Xbox, I know that I can try it on different devices, and like it's just good for me. My PS has been collecting dust too, but I'm hoping they can get me out of that, like with certain games. I think a lot of people who are not in the Xbox scene can see it as a weird thing. Like, you're just playing on Xbox. Like, what are you playing? Like, they can't imagine that there's other games out there outside of certain franchises. But I don't know. But yeah, we'll console war every now and then. But it's not super. It's usually met with our personal view in the industry and stuff like that, and why we think that way. It's not like it's trash and I'll never do it or whatever. It's usually met with like somewhat of an unbiased, but we try. But yeah, we will dabble. We will be toxic every now and then. You get your dices here and there. BMMO says, you think they're going to show more of Exodus this year? Maybe. We'll see. Taylor's Ray says, so much stuff going on in the background that we don't know about. Then BMMO says, people can fly. Yeah, they that could be a thing too. We know Xbox is working with them on something. Sappho says, I got PS5 Pro and only been playing Watch Dogs on it. At first, I thought it said I only been watching stuff on it or something, which is kind of what I use my PS4 is like Netflix and stuff. I really want to play Watch Dogs 2. That's a game I will circle back on and probably play that at some point. Naseem Waja says, there's also games on PS5. What are you talking about? No, I'm not saying there's no games on PS5. I'm saying that a lot of people say there's no games on Xbox. Like that's a tagline for people saying Xbox has no games. That's what I'm talking about. And like, what are you even playing on Xbox? And I could just list a bunch of games. I'm like, well, that doesn't count. That's third party. I'm like, what are you playing on PlayStation? And it'll be a third party game. That's my whole thing with that whole argument. That's why I brought it up. I'm not saying there's no games on PS5. But this year is like, haha. Okay. Anyways, Fuzzy Belvedere. You mentioned the people can fly. Yep. Fun Speculation says no. There's not. PS5 has 0 games. If you search the store, it is empty. Yeah, it's barren. You'll see a tumbleweed go by. Nah. There's just not a lot of games that I'm interested in Sony's first party perspective in a bit, but they got some games. I love Last of Us. I love certain games. It just make me interested again. I'm interested in Naughty Dog's new game. I love Naughty Dog, so that'll probably make me play some PlayStation again. And yeah, so trying to get through all your comments. Appreciate you guys for dropping on in every single show. Buzzy, any last thoughts, man?
No, just this month, I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised at the Dev Direct. Looking forward to seeing what they say. Looking forward to Xbox OS on handhelds. Not going to put it on my Steam Deck, but kind of debating. Like, I know I'm going to wind up picking up a MetaQuest 3 at some point, probably next week. But that what do you call it? Legion Go S with Steam OS on it has me intrigued. Although there's a slightly different version that's Windows, which if they can release that Xbox OS sooner, then I guess May, I might give that a try and pick that up. So we'll see. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And the only topic I guess we didn't get to was the Switch 2.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it's coming.
It's coming. Yeah. I don't think I was going to say much there. I was just going to say Switch 2, interested what they got going on. I'm happy they are finally jumping in a generation where we don't have to have tiled grass anymore. That's pretty much what I was going to say. So you guys are not missing much for that topic.
I'm curious to see with third-party support, will this get Grand Theft Auto 6? Will this game get, well, I'm assuming it's going to get Call of Duty because that was mentioned in the acquisition stuff. But if they get those games, it's going to be interesting. I might actually pick up a Switch at that point.
Yeah, it could be interesting that Switch 2, if it appears on Rockstar, is San Andreas on the Switch? I thought maybe that appeared. I'm just wondering if
I thought they did something from the remaster collection, but
yeah.
like all their other stuff that I was looking at before was cloud streaming, which was like weird. Like I think not Cyberpunk. What was the other one that they did that was cloud stream? And I'm like, yeah, no thanks.
They did Resident Evil. I remember that was a big one on cloud
Yeah.
streaming. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. That was like the big one I remember. I'm like, that's gonna run on the Switch. Like, okay. Um, we'll see how that plays. But yeah, I'm just wondering if Rockstar has somewhat of a build up of relationship with Nintendo. I could see GTA 6 possibly appearing on the Switch too, but man, that's gonna be kind of a downgraded experience. But I mean, I guess people are used to that on Nintendo anyways, so it'll be fine. Based on what people are saying, it'll be the power of like the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying I'm excited about that, I have a very low bar with expectations for Nintendo graphically. Like finally people can make somewhat of a PS4 type game. Like the standards are low for Nintendo for sure.
Like for me, I wasn't going to do the whole. I was about to call it Zoomy, but it's whatever the Nintendo emulator that they sued and shut down on the Steam Deck. I wasn't going to give that a try. I wanted to, but I was like, yeah, I'm not having Nintendo lawyers breaking into my house and come and get me and put me in a van or something. So, having a Switch 2 that's at least on par or closer to like a Steam Deck level would be worthwhile for me.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll see.
We'll see. You guys are talking about PlayStation has no games. I think who said Taylor Sray say port begging ponies want Xbox games. Please give us some more games. Yeah, that's a topic going around that like a lot of people wasn't interested in Halo. All of a sudden they're like, yes, Halo. That it's true. I mean that is true. A lot of people who didn't really want those games, all of a sudden they're going to be like, whoa. That was proven with Sea of Thieves. There was so many. I remember there's so many articles and a lot of Sony shows talking about how crappy Sea of Thieves is and why do people like it. It sold very well on PlayStation. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So you'll get those.
I remember
peeps.
the catchphrase shortly after it came out. The Kraken is lacking because I guess you couldn't see any of the tentacles under the water or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, they bought it anyway.
Yep.
So
they bought that.
PlayStation fans to the pirated seas of Sea of Thieves.
Yep.
Hopefully you don't get ganked.
Sea of Thieves is actually really fun. That is a game. Kind of. I feel like it could be akin to Helldivers. Like you can't really play Sea of Thieves alone. But if you have a cruise ship, it could be really.
I've
fun.
seen some people hold their own with the skiff or whatever, the smaller ship. Like, and they could be the most annoying because it's like you can't. By the time you shoot the cannon at them, they're already out the way. But I've seen some people purposely go solo and then sink your ship and then steal your like. Oh,
nice. Okay.
That just because I had my kids with me the first time they played Sea of Thieves. I think that wound up happening to us. I was like, but they still loved the game, so at least it didn't ruin their outlook on the game. And they started doing that to people, and then I was like, oh, the smaller ship might be the better way to go.
I remember someone snuck on my ship, and if you do, like, there's like a couple emoji things you can do in the game. Like you can like do the harmonica, you can just do different things. But there's one emote you can do where you sleep. And so I had somebody. This was really funny. I forgot about this till you said that. I had somebody fall asleep on my ship so they could hide on the ship. And they waited till we got a bunch of treasure. We did this mission, whatever. And of course, they basically, I went downstairs. I'm like, what the heck? What is that? And I noticed the person sleeping, and he heard me, and then he woke up, shot me. They stole my stuff. So yeah. I learned a lesson. That is a piratey game. It could be a lot of amazing unscripted moments in Sea of Thieves. For sure. All right, man. This is the end. Everybody, appreciate y'all. Sony got no games. All the things. Appreciate everybody for jumping on by. Fuzzy, appreciate you, brother. Tell us where people can find you and what you got going on.
Yeah. As always, love doing this on Sundays. Always appreciate doing this. Thanks everybody in the chat for joining us. Greatly appreciate taking the time. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and make a comment. Give us feedback if you like what we said or not. Just let us know. We always are open-minded, open-eared for what you guys got to say. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, you can find me on pretty much all social media but Facebook, because you have to have a driver's license to say Fuzzy Belvedere to be on there. I'm not changing my real name, but in any event, just do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere. You'll be able to find me. And then hope to see you guys here. Well, you'll probably tell them about a different time next Sunday. But yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah. Heck of a 30th episode. Appreciate everybody coming on by. Next Sunday, we are early. Wow, I know, crazy. We usually start the show like 8:30 or it really depends. Like I'm setting up topics for the show, make sure we have a good amount to talk about, and we could have good stuff for you guys, video wise too. But next Sunday we are probably aiming at doing a 3 p.m. show because we have a special guest. From the U of K. And that's you guys could figure out who it could be. So it'll be a great show. So be sure to drop on by 3 p.m. Eastern time next Sunday. Me and Fuzz will be on Pixelated Echoes Part 2 tomorrow on FSP on the Fun Speculation channel. Go check that out. It's going to be a fun show. I'm sure Mav got a lot of cool topics lined up for us. But appreciate y'all for dropping in every single episode, 30th episode. And if you guys agreed with us or not, let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content from us. Hit that notification bell. Follow us on all the platforms or on Blue Sky. I still posting on Twitter with the Pixelated Echoes account, but I'm not on Twitter. So if you guys want to follow me, just go on Blue Sky, and I post all the gaming stuff on there. And yeah, I think that's everything. So appreciate y'all. See you guys on the next episode. Take care. Bye.